There were a lot of swinging movies in the 70s. There were the swinging cheerleaders and the swinging co-eds, and there was the swinging sorority, and there were the movies about swinging, like Group Marriage, and the movie that inspired Group Marriage, Bob, Carol, Ted, and Alice. And this movie, even though it has swinging in the title, it's not about promiscuous barmaids. It's about barmaids who are murdered by a perverted psychopath. Welcome to Exploitation Reviews and me, Rob, and today I'm taking a look at The Swinging Barmaids from 1975. On paper, this movie has a lot going for it. It was written by one of Roger Corman's writers, Charles B. Griffith. He wrote Little Shop of Horrors and Death Race 2000. Both of those movies are awesome. And it was directed by Gus Trinakis, who did a number of trashy, fun exploitation films in the 70s, like The Student Body and Five the Hard Way. And fans of this channel will be happy to hear it features the one and only Dyanne Thorne. That's right, Ilsa herself is here as a cocktail waitress. This is gonna be good. We open on the barmaids, cocktail waitresses really. They're getting ready for their shifts. They don't really get along very well. Nothing too serious, just typical workplace rivalries. Boo Boo, that's Dyanne Thorne. She hits the floor and butts heads with a customer. I'm not sure that beard is real. After the shift, Boo Boo invites the girls over for a drink, but they don't seem too keen. But that fake beard man is keen. He busts into her place and the two have a tussle. I can't show you too much of this fight because those thangs bust out and start themselves a-swinging. Boo Boo puts up a good fight, but she eventually tires out and the fake beard man stabs her. And then he poses her and takes these gross, weird pictures. Ugh. And what? 15 minutes into this movie, Dyanne Thorne is already dead and no longer going to be in it? Man, that kind of sucks. This movie better do something good to make up for that. Anyway, in the meantime, the barmaids had reconsidered Boo Boo's offer and they show up to have a drink with her and they catch that killer in the act. But he manages to escape. The girls go to the police. Hey, check it out. That's William Big Bill Smith. I think this is his third appearance on the channel. We then pop over to the killer's house and oh, thank God, he's getting rid of that fake beard. And the next day he goes back to the same bar. It looks like he's trying to test out if his new look is enough to trick people. And it is. That night he follows one of the waitresses home and he's about to break in and then her fiancé Dave shows up. And then they do that thing that happy couples do that I can't show you on YouTube, but I will say that shoulders aren't an erogenous zone. What the hell, movie? Or maybe they are. Are mine broken? And the next day the killer gets even bolder and applies for a job at the bar. And he gets it. He's going to be the new bouncer/dishwasher, which will give him easier access to the girls. And this is how the movie will go. The killer is in their midst, and he is picking them off one at a time, and we, the audience, just have to wait and hope that they figure it out before they're all dead. But that's enough out of me as far as plot goes. Let's talk some highlights. Well, highlight number one, the girls look great, and surprisingly, for a movie like this, they're actually pretty good at acting. More than pretty good, even. And the killer really is a great villain. I really, really hated him. I mean, I hate incel types like this anyway. I hate the way they talk to women. I hate their misogyny. I mean, I hate these guys, even if they aren't killing people. And yeah, if you can get me to hate the character, I guess that's some pretty good writing. And on that writing point, the story itself is pretty good. I kind of like the idea of the killer in the midst, and we have to kind of wait and see if they figure it out. That's a cool, less common way to give tension to a serial killer movie. It is a little frustrating in this movie because the police and the press put out information that makes it easier for that killer to avoid being caught. But, idiotic press, incompetent police, that just sounds like this movie takes place in America. I guess they're going for realism. But despite the great-looking cast, who can actually act, and the pretty cool story, I wouldn't say this movie is perfect. Like an incel killer looking at pictures of Dyanne Thorne, it has some shortcomings. Number one, Dyanne Thorne's role. I'm a big fan of hers. In fact, her being in it was the whole reason I watched this movie, so I was a little disappointed when, just 15 minutes into it, she's no longer in the movie. I mean, maybe the killer could have busted in after she had taken an after-work shower, kind of extend her screen time in a good way by 5 minutes or so. The movie definitely could have benefited from a 5-minute Dyanne Thorne shower scene. Definitely. Oh well, I guess I'll just have to watch Jess Franco's Ilsa movie again. And on that underutilization point, I could say the same thing about William Smith's character. He does not spend much time being a badass in this movie, and that's unfortunate. It's William Smith. He should have been kicking ass and slaying but instead, he's just being a boring cop.
You don't like cops?
No, I don't like them. But that's not the point. I'm saying it's Big Bill Smith. He should be kicking ass, slaying Moving on. For an exploitation film, this one doesn't really go very hard. It's a serial killer movie, but there's no gore and hardly any blood at all. I mean, some of the kills are brutally effective, especially the one in the swimming pool. That was, pretty cool. But yeah, for an exploitation thriller, it could have been bloodier. I mean, the kills in this movie would probably be PG or PG-13 if it weren't for those fangs busting out and starting themselves a-swinging. And on that nudity point, it doesn't go very hard in that direction either. There are some sexy outfits, a very brief shower scene, and a very brief sexy time scene. But all the rest of the nudity is during those kills, and that might rub some people the wrong way. I mean, if this movie had came out a decade earlier, it would probably be considered a roughie. And so, yeah, that might rub some people the wrong way. Not me, of course, but, people. And yet, despite not going hard on the violence and the nudity, I still rather like this movie. In fact, I think this is a pretty good, say, introductory level exploitation film. It's a fast-paced thriller with some sexed-up violence that doesn't go too far. Yeah, give it a shot. And if you like it and you want more, there are more depraved depths you can explore. You could check out a roughy thriller like Aroused, or if you want more of the nasty, grimy serial killer stuff, you could check out a movie like Maniac. And if you want both of those things, sexed up violence and a grimy serial killer movie, you might be ready for the work of Michael Finlay.